Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the greatest sports podcast in the world. Somebody said podcast.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
Okay. Yeah.
If the voice sounds different to start the show, it's because Unc is not here. So one time, big shout out to Unc, first of all.
One time, phone.
But this is your boy Breeze on the 1 and 2. I guess I am hosting in the interim. Don't get comfortable with me. I won't be here long. But the man on the 1s and 2s, the maestro, is Punk.
Yes, sir.
We have a guest. Well, he's not really a guest. He's his family.
Yeah.
We got Cousin Herm, a.k.a. the 12 Capo. What's going on, 12
We in here. What's up? What I do?
You picked a good show to come in on, man. You picked a good show.
I have a great time.
It's going to be a lot of college ball. Football back. I don't know if y'all...
Football back.
I heard a rumor. I didn't know if it was true. A couple birdies through the grapevine. They said, hey, football might be back.
I can confirm.
I heard the same thing.
You heard the same?
I heard the same thing.
Hey, man, that's all I needed.
Football is indeed back. We're going to talk plenty of football. Of course, we got predictions.
Cool.
Right? We love to pull receipts around here. So put it on wax. At the end of the season, we'll double back and we'll pull some cards if we need to, right?
I like it.
Before we get started, just quick shout out to our sponsors. We are brought to you by the Red Lady Rum Punch, the official beverage of the Somebody Said podcast. We need cans.
Cans.
Still need cans.
Summer's almost over now. It's hurricane season. Actually, even more reason to get cans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Non-perishables.
Yep.
Big non-perishable.
Need them. Need them cans. And during a hurricane, there isn't much else to do. But
Besides have a hurricane party.
thank you.
Come on.
And I need beverages for that.
It's such a Florida thing, and I love it.
Right.
I need big beverages.
Big Bev.
All right. Get at us, Jared. We also brought to you by Window to Wall Solutions. What is it? Dream Home for Reality Prices? Yes.
Sure.
Dream Home.
Good week or bad week?
Bad week. Thank you. I love that. It brings back great memories.
Hey, R.I.P. Bob Barker.
Oh yeah, Bob died.
Yeah, man, that man was a 99.
You about to say something horrible?
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad you hezzy.
My man caught 99. He didn't go to the dollar.
Wow, bro.
But the true Price is Right.
Come on.
Wow, bro.
To the end.
I'm with you on that.
Price is Right to the end of it.
Wow, bro.
I'm with you on that.
That's horribly
That's
great.
hardcore Price is Right to the
It's
end
horribly great.
It is.
It's horrible, but it's great.
It's 12.
Yeah. Quintessential.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There's no more to it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. So let's just dive into it. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk college football. We're gonna do conference championship predictions. We're going to do a little week 0 recap, a couple of games we're talking about. We're gonna do I said conference championship predictions, but also college football playoff predictions. We're also gonna predict natty winners. And then we'll do, like I said, week 0, and then we'll do a week 1 preview. I have Pick'em again this year, so we're going to run back to Pick'em. We're going to open the Pick'em up to people.
Okay.
All right? If other people want to get in on the Pick'em, please send it in.
Whatever.
Best way to send it in, social media. We have a Twitter. Somebody said pod. We've got an Instagram. Somebody said podcast. TikTok. Somebody said podcast. YouTube. Somebody said sports. Remember that one specifically. Might be having some live shows coming.
Okay.
On the YouTube. Yeah. Particularly around the Pick'ems.
Okay.
So just keep that tucked away.
Little nugget.
Yeah. Keep that in your back pocket. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's jump into our college football talk. You got that drop?
Nah, man.
No, you don't have him?
No, it's on the fly, man. Just slide it in there later.
Oh, pause.
It's crazy.
I'm not trying to slide later.
That's kind of
crazy.
That's kind of
That's
disappointing.
crazy.
Listen, I didn't know what we were doing today.
It's been the same one forever. Why would it ever come off the board?
When college football season is not around.
You be doing a lot.
I'm not doing a lot.
Sometimes
I'm
it's
doing
too
enough.
much.
Or maybe somebody should say, hey, we might be recording today.
Or me and you had multiple conversations. You know what? Whatever. College football predictions. Endpoint for the video editing later. We're going to start with the ACC. We'll just go in alphabetical order. We're only going to do P5, right? I'm not doing
Not the American.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
The MAC.
We're just even though I do get down with that Maction. If they bring back that Wednesday night Maction,
That MAC shit now.
I might do it. All right, let's do ACC first. So, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, odds-on favorite, Clemson, followed by Florida State, Pittsburgh, and North Carolina. Who are y'all taking to win the ACC? I think I know the answer.
The Florida State University.
Okay.
Give me Florida State. I want my ACC back.
I can't say I didn't see that coming. I knew I would be the lone wolf on this one. I'm going to roll with the odds-on favorite, Clemson.
That's cool. I get it.
Until somebody like legitimately knocks them off, they've kind of had the conference in a chokehold, right?
It's completely understandable.
Yeah. Not mad at it.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, if somebody's going to do it at some point, right? They will not run rampant over the conference forever, but they've been doing it for a while, and so
I mean,
it's hard for me to. Like other teams have won it, like here and there. Like North Carolina won it with Marquise Williams that year. Like other teams do win it at times, but like more times than not, the last decade
they've been dominating for a decade. I get it.
So it's hard for me to be like, well, they're not going to do it, especially when I am high on the Clemson Tigers this season.
I think we'll find out some things in 4 weeks.
Well, according to my pick 'em, you might find out some. No, they're not in the pick 'em. You might find out a little something week 1.
Okay.
They do play Duke week 1.
This is
and true. Riley Leonard is getting NFL draft chatter about him. Duke went out and won 9 games last season. Of course, everybody's always going to say it's Duke. But they did win 9 games last season. Maybe they can expose some deficiencies on the Clemson roster on the field.
Okay. I mean, we're talking about a week 1 upset.
Potential
upset.
Clemson is favored by 12.5.
Yeah.
I believe on the road. So, yeah, I mean, it's either on the road or it's neutral site. But, you know.
I guess for me, if a team is who, you know, they say they are, then a week 1 upset to a team that you're supposed to beat, and that's a pretty heavy favorite. I mean, that's double-digit favorite, right? If you are who we think you are, then that game shouldn't be your, you know, week 8, week 9 trap game. It
Correct.
shouldn't be.
They should have your full attention.
Correct.
Yep.
I mean, you're kicking off everything, so I can't see Clemson stumbling to Duke in the first week. But crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened.
It's at Duke.
Yes, it's at Duke. So Duke is getting, Clemson's getting 12.5 on the road, which means if it was at Clemson, it'd probably be 15.5. 14, 15.5. So crazier things have happened, though. That's true. All right. So that's the ACC. That is where we all stand there. Let's keep it rolling. We're going to go to the Big Ten. Odds on favorite, the Ohio State Buckeyes, followed by Michigan, Penn State, and Wisconsin. Shout out to Luke Fickell getting some first season love. Who do you guys have coming out of the Big Ten? 12. You're ready to go.
Is he really getting first season love if he's 4th favorite?
His first season. All right. The Big Ten has been 3 teams and then everybody else, right? Yep. So to automatically to be at the top of that everybody else, I think that's some love, no?
Yeah, I feel like that's that one team this year that the Big Ten seems to always have. It'll be Iowa sometimes or Northwestern every 15 years. So that's their 1 year.
Yeah, I don't truly think they're respecting them yet.
Okay, I mean,
they got him 4th.
Matt Rule is much further down at Nebraska, so he's not even giving that. He's not even getting that 4th spot.
I mean, what is Ron Dane and Russell Wilson walking through that door or something?
I mean,
that's fair with Nebraska. Wisconsin was a decent program. Nebraska was a horrible program.
Okay,
so that balances out, in my opinion.
Okay,
I'm taking Michigan. I don't know. I'll go ahead and get to that point. I'm taking Michigan.
All right.
I am taking Big Blue as well. I think that Jim Harbaugh has finally gotten over the Ohio State enigma.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got the talent. He's bringing back a lot of talent as well, and I think that Michigan knows how to do what they do now.
Are you going with an undefeated Michigan, or do they have a blemish on the record? Like they drop a game? Because right now they are favored, I believe, to win all games. They get Ohio State at home this year, but they are at Penn State. And Penn State is getting also a lot of love. Dark horse playoff love. They get Michigan at home. Their only other big game is really at Ohio State. So, which they actually played Ohio State very well last season. That game was closer than the final score said it was. Are you guys saying an unblemished Michigan or maybe a one-loss Michigan?
I'm still going unblemished. I think you put Penn State in one of your got one of
Top
your,
5 groups?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They got a top 3 running back room. But Michigan was also
Correct
in that listing.
So yeah, no, I'm thinking they go undefeated. Not saying it's going to be a cakewalk. I think that the Ohio State game might be tough for them, even if it's at home. And Penn State just seems to play teams tough when they want to. They have those years. So
yeah, Penn State has like 3 good quarters, and then the fourth quarter is just they bail.
Okay.
Because you'll see like halftime, like, oh, Penn State is tied neck and neck with Ohio State. And next thing you know, at the end of the game is they lost by 15.
Would you say that the talent deficiency is what starts to show?
I can't say that because Penn State recruits well too.
Okay.
It may be the development of talent, because Penn State, they usually have decent recruiting classes, and they have either DBs or D tackles that usually draft well in the NFL.
Okay.
A transfer, the talent transfer to the NFL. It's one of those things where, like, in the fourth quarter, when it comes to a Michigan-Ohio State game, Penn State just blows it.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's a Franklin thing, or if, I don't know exactly what it is, because he'll have a top quarterback every year with a big-name quarterback. He'll have a good running back. And he'll have a solid DB on the opposite side. And then he had like Micah Parsons for 3 or 4 years. He can recruit well. He just, when it comes to that fourth quarter, when it's time to put up or shut up, he shuts up.
Okay.
that might just be a Penn State thing. There's just that team that clearly they can play well. They just don't have what it takes to get over that hump.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. I also mentioned I didn't give my pick. This actually kind of hurts me. I'm going to go with the Suckeyes, unfortunately.
Wow.
That's unfortunate.
Are you okay? I know that took a lot for you to say that.
Yeah, let me gather my words. That team is pretty solid across the board. So, like, going into last year, there were some obvious deficiencies, in my opinion, with the Ohio State roster. Quarterback, obviously elite. Wide receivers were elite. Running backs, they were dinged up like crazy. They brought back all of those running backs. Right? In my top 3 running back rooms, Ohio State was number 3, behind Penn State and Michigan. Offensive line, I think, will be better. Defensive line will be better. JT
Number 44?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
Nice.
took over the Penn State game.
Yeah.
He had, I think, like a forced fumble, interception.
Everything possible on defense besides an interception.
He snapped. He actually, in that game, he did have an interception in the Penn State game.
Yeah.
He comes back. They've got a deep tackle who is supposed to be very, very good. Both linebackers came back. I didn't think their linebackers were that great last year. Both linebackers come back with another year of seasoning on them. The DB room, I think, is good enough. I think they got one corner who's getting some love. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I think this Ohio State Suckeye team is going to be really, really good.
Who's the quarterback this year for them?
So that's the one question, right? It seemingly is still a battle. The latest rumors are that there was a straw poll taken amongst the coaching staff. Ryan Day went to the staff and was like, all right, who would y'all pick? And it was like a 50-50 split between Brown and, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm blanking on that kid's name. He's the incumbent. Oh, he's been there. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm blanking on this kid's name. He was the starting quarterback in the spring game. I even talked about him a couple of weeks ago. I said he looked real comfortable in that game.
Going Kyle McCord?
Kyle McCord, yes. So Kyle McCord and Devin Brown. Devin Brown are still battling for that spot. I think the pieces around them are so good it doesn't even matter. Like Marvin Harrison is in conversations of being the best wide receiver prospect ever. With a Julian Fleming in the third spot, with Emeka Ibuka, who would probably be the best wide receiver on every other team in the country, with Brandon Ennis, who apparently has been killing it since he got there in the summer, with Carnell Tate, who they're saying might be further along in his development than Marvin Harrison was when he showed up. At quarterback, it could be me. Like I feel like they could have me at that quarterback spot. And other than the Penn State game or the Michigan game, will it really even matter?
The only thing I ever push back on that is when it comes to quarterback play. If you're that talented, and I got to take away Marvin Harrison, right? If I need to, run coverage over the top, spot, whatever I need to do, and I say, all right, QB, you beat me. Because I know what he's going to do. I know what all these other guys are going to do, but I don't know what you do. If it was CJ back there, cool. Pick your poison. He's going to pick you apart. Mm-hmm. If it's an unknown commodity, I want to sit back and make you prove it to me.
But can you stop the run? Let's say you do blanket Marvin. First of all, you still got to do something about Emeka Ibuka.
Fair.
Also, their tight end went for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns last year, so you still got to cover him too. Mm-hmm. They have 3 running backs who all, I think, had at least one game over 100 rushing yards last year. Can you stop all of those receivers and stop all those running backs? Like, is it even possible? But other than maybe a Michigan or a Penn State type of defense.
Yeah, but fair point. But I'm with Pump though. If the quarterback is that good, I'm gonna focus on stopping the run. And Marvin Harrison may be that good, but if I can get to you and force you to make a bad decision,
okay,
I only need to cover Marvin Harrison for 3 seconds.
You know what this feels like? This feels like snap. What was his name? The quarterback at Bama when they had it was Ridley's
Greg McElroy?
senior season.
No, what was the one after him?
Let's go with that one. This feels like Greg McElroy. Where honestly, the pieces around him are all so great, it really doesn't matter. Just be a game manager. Hey, we just need you to not lose games. You don't have to win a single game. We just need you to not lose. The system is very friendly. We run a spread. You've got.
I was thinking about Blake Sims.
Oh wow!
Wow. I see where you're at with Blake Sims.
Stacked in every other position. Stacked at wide receiver, stacked at running back. Blake Sims just was not it.
But I feel like just be Greg McElroy. Can you do that?
And for me, the thing is, you pointed out 2 teams. They can do whatever else they want to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Penn State and Michigan, we know what Michigan's defense can do, right? They can stop the run and they can stop the pass. They can definitely stop the run.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the case, okay, fine. Figure it out with everybody else, with Iowa States and Northwesterns and whoever. But you can't do that with Michigan. You're going to lose.
But they have all season to figure that out. That's the other thing. They don't play either of those teams until like November.
I get it.
So literally you have
November will be fun then.
2-3 months to figure out, all right, how will we try to beat Michigan or Penn State?
It'll be interesting to watch.
It's going to be very interesting to watch. And I hope I'm wrong. I would much rather have Michigan or Penn State win that conference.
Also how you get caught in trap games.
Fair.
Looking too far ahead. I understand Michigan and Ohio State is a big X on the calendar. But, like, don't sleep on Iowa. Iowa will get you in a 12-6 game real quick.
Iowa had the number 2 defense in the country last year?
Exactly. Iowa will get you in the game 12-6.
Yeah.
And then it'd be 150 total passing yards for both teams.
You're not wrong.
So
you're not wrong.
You just got to be very mindful about.
Be fair, you can say that almost every couple of years about Wisconsin when they get that ground game going, and all of a sudden they got 379 rushing yards.
Time of possession to be like 45 minutes.
Luke Fickell's got the 4th best odds to win the conference.
Hey,
just saying. I think that's going to be a fun conference to watch. I think that'll be fun.
It should.
Let's keep rolling. Let's drop on down further south a little bit to the Big 12 conference. This is the Big 12's last year with this structure. You get the weird overlay of the 4 new teams being added before Texas and Oklahoma leave. But odds-on favorite, top 5, actually the top 6 odds-on favorite are all teams that have been in the Big 12 already. It goes Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU. Is anybody buying the Texas hype this year?
I am.
Ooh.
I'm with it too.
I am.
Oh.
Yeah, I am.
A 3 for 3. Okay.
Texas was an injured quarterback away from having a completely different season.
Okay.
If the mullet doesn't get hurt against Bama, Texas beats Bama.
Now, let me, just to play devil's advocate, right? Because he didn't miss the rest of the season.
He didn't.
He came back, and they still lost. They went 8-4, finished, and so they end up losing 3 additional games. He played in those games.
Fair. But also, a win like beating Bama can completely change your mentality for the rest of the entire season.
Very fair.
Or it's almost devastating to get this close to beating the Giant, and you don't, and you mentally, it takes a time to get back from that.
Okay.
So I really think if Quentin Ewers stays in the game and he doesn't get hurt, I think Texas wins, and Texas makes a nice run after that.
Okay.
That was that game that Bryce was playing 1-on-11, right?
He was Bryce throwing to himself.
Right.
Literally.
I'm looking at Big 12 and I'm watching two things. I'm watching Ewers. I want to see what he can do for a complete season, right? And I'm watching what Venables is going to do in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Because we kind of that was like the hires, like, oh, he's going down here. We wanted Venables for a minute, right? At Florida State.
We did.
Right? So I think Unc was ready to fire him after week 8 last week.
He's ready to fire everybody.
So I'm waiting to see is he going to be the guy that they thought that they were getting? Because I think by week 6 or week 7, maybe the second big game for Oklahoma might start getting a little buyer's remorse. I'm going Texas. I think that they have more. I also can't go with General Booty.
No, that's not who's starting.
Who's starting?
It's Dylan Gabriel, the transfer from UCF. He's still starting.
Is General Booty on that team?
General Booty is like third.
I need Booty.
Jackson Arnold, a true freshman, 5-star true freshman, is the backup. Jackson Arnold.
Okay. Ah, man, I want General Booty.
I'm with you though. I didn't clear. I'm taking Texas.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely taking Texas.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The quarterback, you know how big I am on quarterback play. I think Clinton. I think he's also one of your top guys, right? Or the Texas
Texas quarterback room was top 3 in the country. Yeah, and the Texas wide receiver room was a top 3 wide receiver room in the country, according to my list.
So can Texas put it all together to become who they think that they are?
Okay, that's a great question. It's a great question.
They got the talent.
And there's I don't know if you want to call him a disciple, but Sark has been through that Bama system. And he seems like one of those ones that could take the Bama system, put his own imprints on it, and actually make it a fearful team for years to come.
Okay. I am also taking Texas. I'm going to take Texas. Again, it's hard to do it, though, because Texas is the other school where the word back is always said facetiously, right, and sarcastically whenever we think about teams that mention the word back. There's only 2. Texas is one of those 2. So it's hard to be like, hey, man, I think Texas can do it. But
what was the one quarterback? I can't. He plays for the Colts.
Sam Ehlinger.
Texas, we're back.
Yeah, after winning the Cotton Bowl or something like that.
They beat Georgia, though, didn't? Wasn't that Georgia they beat?
Maybe.
Okay, I think.
You could be right. Here's why I'm rolling with Texas. I think they have a really good quarterback room. So Ewers, at times, I thought his technique got sloppy, and he misfired. I went back. I've gone back and I've watched a few Texas games from last season. Particularly recently, I was watching the Washington game. So they played Washington in the bowl game because those are both teams I wanted to take a look at. And Texas and Ewers, I was like, man, was it nerves? Was it the moment's too big? Was he just under pressure all the time? It wasn't. I just felt like mechanically he would get off base. The feet weren't in the right place. The follow through wasn't right. You know what I mean? He can do the off the sidearm. You got to be able to do the basics, right? And I think sometimes he got away from the basic mechanics of throwing. So if he cleans that up under Sark, and statistically quarterbacks do better in their second year under Sark, see Mac Jones, the offensive line is going to be legit. They had the number 1 offensive line recruiting class 2 cycles ago. Kelvin Banks is going to be a first-round pick, possibly a top 10 pick. He might be a top 3 offensive tackle in the country now as a true sophomore. Remember the name, Kelvin Banks, stud. They got a defensive tackle who's probably a top 10 D tackle in the country. The pieces all seem to be there. You bring back Xavier Worthy. You add A.D. Mitchell from Georgia, who all he does is catch big-time catches in big-time games. The pieces seem to all be there, and it's like, why can't you beat this Big 12? The conference, I also think, is a down year for the Big 12. I think Oklahoma will absolutely be better than their 6-6 regular season record from last year, but are they going to be a double-digit winning team? I don't know. It's a bit of a jump, right? A 4-game swing is kind of a big swing. It's possible, but it's kind of a big swing. Kansas State's Kansas State. I think Will Howard's pretty good, but Am I losing sleep over playing Will Howard? Probably not. I think Texas Tech is going to be sneakily good, but see what I'm saying? So it's like, why can't Texas win it?
Do you think TCU's a flash in the pan?
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. They lost their offensive coordinator. They lost the quarterback.
The running. They lost the
wide receiver, Quentin Johnson.
So I do think TCU will be flash. So I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think TCU will still be a 7-8 win team. I don't think they, go to 4-8 or anything like that, but I don't think they can repeat what they did last year. And they didn't win the conference last year. I think people forget that.
And then got smacked.
Yeah.
Smacked.
Well, it's beating Kansas State for your conference title is a very different thing than beating Georgia.
Oh, I get
Hold on now. Don't sleep on Kansas State. I get what you're saying. But Kansas State was playing some good football.
Yes. They always play good ball.
No, they don't.
Kansas State?
No.
Usually they play good ball.
No.
They're spunky.
No.
I think they usually play like sound
I give
ball.
you spunk.
Yeah, they're they're a plucky bunch.
I give you spunk.
First of all,
But-
don't call us next week. No,
don't know what that means.
But playing good football,
Yeah, not sound football.
Kansas State played beyond sound football last year.
Kansas State is one of those teams that 100-year storm comes around, they have a great season, or they play really good ball.
They were playing good ball last year.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, and then they got smacked.
I think
All I'm saying.
low key, the Big 12 will have a decent, as a conference, will have decent quarterback play too. Because nobody's even talking about Jalen Daniels at Kansas because he was lighting it up before he got hurt. Nobody's even bringing that up. Just
Speaking of quarterback
a
play,
sidebar.
speaking of quarterback play, I'm just saying, I was prefacing to the next conference you're getting to.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Pac-12.
Hey,
Odds-on favorites. We actually got to see them this weekend. The USC Trojans, followed in order by Oregon, Washington, Utah, and the UCLA Bruins. Who you guys taking?
Where's Oregon State at on that list?
Oregon State is actually in 6th.
think that's too low.
I do.
Why are you asking about Oregon State?
I think Oregon State is a good sleeper this year.
Ooh. Where does it start with Oregon State?
It starts at the quarterback.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going.
Didn't you like the O-line?
Offensive
I know
line.
you like the O-line.
That O-line is tough.
That O-line is nice.
Okay.
I give you that.
Okay.
I think Oregon State is the right offense for DJ Yuga to thrive.
Okay.
Clemson did not want to change what they were doing to really help out DJ. DJ is, now that he's left Clemson, I can say that he's actually a decent quarterback.
Okay.
And plus, I just don't believe in USC's defense is going to lose them the big games.
Okay.
Interesting. So who's your pick?
I know you said
Yeah,
that.
I'm about to say, where you going?
You said a lot to say nothing.
I went all the way around to say, I'm going to say Washington.
Ooh, shout out to Tampa, Mr.
Yeah,
Michael Penix Jr.
Mr. Penix from Tampa.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. First and foremost, go ahead and hand Caleb his ticket to New York now.
Thank you.
Just get that out the way.
Agreed.
Just get that out the way. It doesn't even matter. The only thing that I worry about with USC, and they're going to put up points. They dropped, what, about 40 plus a game, 42, 43 a game last year?
Ponce.
I watched the guy yesterday. What's his name? Number 1, Branch.
Zachariah Branch.
Freshman?
True freshman.
I heard the announcer say it, and I was like, that's very lofty. But then I saw the highlights, and I watched it again on the replay last night. He gives number 5 vibes. The way that boy makes plays.
Oh, that's not where I went with that, but okay.
He makes...
I have a hot take about him, by the way.
So just add that onto whatever it else is that Caleb has at his disposal, right? He's got the transfer from South Carolina, running back.
Nice.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Nice.
So you just give him more stuff to toy around with, to play with, pause?
Yes. He also got a 1,000-yard receiver from Arizona, Dorian Singer.
So now I'm thinking, all right, cool. The defense is suspect. It's still to me.
That's putting it nice.
Suspect is too nice.
All right. The defense
I
is
will
suspect.
not let you sit there
Okay,
and use
fine.
suspect.
Defense is not good. However, their best defense is Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
At any point, if you don't score on a drive,
They
you just lost 7 points.
they
Caleb's going
had
to go down and score.
Caleb had Jordan Addison last year, putting up crazy numbers. Still lost.
They only lost regular season 1 game.
And lost
He was
the
hurt in the conference championship. He could barely move, which his running is part of his game. We don't think about him as a runner, but it's almost like Pat Mahomes.
I'm about to say, I watched him scramble. He's not going to just break out on you. But I saw him a couple times on the sideline. I'm like, why can't they tackle him? Why can't they tackle him?
He's slippery.
He's slippery. So at that point, again, I feel like if you don't score, you're in trouble. You need to score every possession with USC.
Correct.
They may lose, but they're going to lose 53-54.
Literally, their only regular season loss last year to Utah, 43-42.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to score.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they're a Caleb Williams injury away from going to the playoffs last year.
I agree. If they beat Utah in that conference championship game, which I feel like they would have if he's not hurt, they would have made the playoff.
Absolutely.
They would have got that 4th spot.
I 100% believe that. So with that, I still look at, Washington. I think that's my number 2 team.
Okay.
And again, Washington has a great quarterback, right? They got 2 good receivers out there.
Rome Odunze. Remember the name.
So at that point, again, defense with Washington.
Yeah. And Washington just lost their starting running back.
So now if I have to say, okay, both teams are just going to have to outscore each other. Who's going to outscore each other more? It's got to be USC for me. That's the only reason why I put USC above Washington. I think they have the higher level of talent and at the most important position.
I'm kind of thinking the same way, except instead of my number 2 being Washington, it's actually Oregon.
Mr. Nix.
Listen.
You a Bo Nix fan now?
Listen. I rip Bo Nix to pieces.
I know. That's what I'm
at
asking.
Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the numbers he put up last year?
Listen,
I'm with you. I agree. His numbers are it's 2 completely different people.
Dr.
It
Jekyll
was
and Mr.
Nick
Hyde.
Bo in Auburn, but it's Bo Nix in Oregon. That's a different man.
Yeah. He like his daddy's son now.
He also did lose the offensive coordinator.
They did. They lost Kenny.
Oh, Dilly.
They lost Dilly.
Yeah.
But they brought back that whole team. Essentially brought back that whole team. The offensive line was a Joe Moore finalist offensive line, which Bo has always had talent.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not running for his life, he makes way better decisions, which I think we all do when we're not running for our life or we're not running a Gus Malzahn system. Let's be honest. John Rice Plumlee was the leading rusher for UCF last year.
But okay,
playing for
John
Gus
Rice
Malzahn.
Plumlee cannot throw.
Huh?
John Rice Plumlee cannot throw.
Apparently he can run. Why is Gus then starting him? There's something to be said about Gus Malzahn at this point.
I think we know what to say about Gus Malzahn.
Thank you. So I got Oregon as my number 2 team. Also, I do think Oregon will have a better defense than Washington. Oregon, people forget, coming into last year went on a run of 3 top 12 recruiting classes. My guy now, Mario Cristobal, was recruiting very, very well at Oregon. And then last year they had a top 10 recruiting class. They brought in some really big time guys on defense. I want to say they had a 5-star DN they pulled in last year. They're recruiting outrageously well now. I think Oregon defensively will be better than what we often expect them to be. And if Bo Nix can replicate what he did last year, which was take care of the ball, get it to your playmakers, I don't see why Oregon can't win double-digit games again.
So outside just a change of
But
environment.
USC is my pick, though.
Assumed as much.
Just want to clarify.
All that being said.
Outside of change of environment, do you think that Dilly was a big difference on what we saw
100%.
with Bo Nix?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, with him gone, what do you think that is still going to be there? You think he's going to hold on to what he discovered about himself?
I think they're going to run a similar system. So at the end of the day, it reminds me of Georgia. And that's kind of a lazy take because the head coach came from Georgia. Who's Georgia's offensive coordinator? Do y'all know? You might know.
It's not Bobo, is it? Or Bobo left, didn't he?
No, it's not. It's not Mike Bobo. Nobody knows, right? Do you know that they have a new offensive coordinator?
I did know that.
You did know that. Does it matter?
No,
Probably not. Right? Because Georgia's going to play Georgia football regardless. Whoever they hire is going to play Georgia football regardless. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They had a new defensive coordinator last year. Didn't matter. So I feel like they're going. Go ahead.
It is Bobo.
It's still Bobo?
It's Mike Bobo.
Bobo was the backup last year.
It's Monken.
It was Monken. I flipped that.
Yeah.
I thought Bobo left.
No,
and it was
Monken left
the other way.
and it's
Todd
Bobo.
Monken. Shout out to the Bucks. So I don't think it matters. You bring in coordinators to do the things that you want them to do and say, hey, this is how we want ball played. And they'll just play it, right? Like Georgia, it doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator is. It doesn't really matter. This is Georgia football. Play Georgia football. So I think it's going to be the same thing up there in Oregon. So that's just my thoughts on that.
So what's the heck of Dan
Lanning.
So you think he already has that established?
I think he is.
This is his second year, right?
He was at Georgia and watched it up close. Hit Control-C.
Control-V.
Control-V.
Okay,
Copy paste.
But I'm saying it's one thing to copy it, but it's another thing to fully establish it.
I think so because he already inherited a program that was winning.
Okay.
He inherited a team that went to 3 straight conference championships and won 2. So it's not like he had to come in and teach them how to win. He didn't have to teach them that hard work wins games and that it has to be player led and y'all can't be a bunch of knuckleheads running around here like the Swamp Kings. He didn't have to reinstill. He didn't have to teach them that stuff. He just came in and said, oh, well, y'all already winning. Let's just make a couple tweaks and let's bring in a little more talent at certain positions. And I'm going to bring in a Bo Nix at quarterback so that we're not playing a guy like Anthony Brown. He inherited something ready-made. Really just don't mess it up. And let's be honest, Mario Cristobal is a Saban disciple, and Kirby Smart is also a Saban disciple. So Lanning learns under Smart, who learned under Saban, who inherits a Mario Cristobal, who's a Saban disciple program. They're probably doing a lot of the same stuff because they learned it from the same people. So
that's fair. I get that.
I think he is set up to win for a while at Oregon. For a while. And then all he needs is that, I think he needs that one generational quarterback that takes it to another level, that Heisman type quarterback. Maybe it's Michael Van Buren, who played on ESPN Showcase Saturday against Chaminade Madonna. Plays for St. Francis Academy. Just remember the name. Maybe that's all he needs. And then he can take it to that next level. I don't know. All right, we got to keep rolling, though. Let's finish up with the Southeastern Conference. Odds on favorite, Georgia, minus 110. I'm sorry. I have to laugh because looking at every other conference, every other conference we've talked about, the odds on favorite is plus. Georgia's the only minus conference favorite according to Vegas. Georgia is minus 110 to win the SEC. If you bet $100, you won't get back $100 for them winning it. That's nuts. After that, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Texas A&M. We all.
Texas A&M number 4.
They're number 5.
5.
They're number 5 behind Bama, LSU, and Tennessee.
Still too high.
Wow. There's nobody else to put there. Come on.
You want Arkansas?
Come on.
Something.
Ole Miss is number 6. Come on.
I'd take Ole Miss
No,
Of course
A&M.
you would. Of course.
All right.
you would.
Yeah, that's
You
personal.
take a dirty sock over A&M.
Yeah, that's personal.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's personal.
I mean, we can get out the way. Georgia.
Bulldog bite. Go ahead, Georgia.
They play a bunch of middle school teams.
Until they don't. And then when they don't play middle school teams, they make them look like middle school teams.
True indeed. Yeah, it's Georgia versus the world right now.
Georgia and then everybody else. All right, so those are our conference championship predictions. Let's jump forward real quick. College football playoff predictions. You get 4 spots. Oof. Who you picking? Oof.
Georgia clearly is one. That's easy.
I think we all agree on Georgia.
Yeah, that's easy. Give me Michigan in the second slot.
Ooh. You're big on the blue.
I think Michigan goes undefeated, and they're in there. Give me USC. I think USC goes undefeated. I think USC goes undefeated. Caleb stays upright. And
Alex Grinch.
Caleb stays upright. He's in there. Give me a 12-0 Florida State University.
That's all. I knew it was coming. 13-0. It would have to be 13.
13-0.
Oh, you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Georgia #1. I'm going to go. This is kind of a. I don't want to be cheap. The Big Ten winner.
That's cheap.
That's cheap.
That is a little cheap.
Yeah.
That's cheap. Yeah. Okay.
That's Dollar Tree.
All right. #2. Give me the Suck Eyes. #2. Which, God, that's terrible. Then give me USC. And give me Clemson. You know what?
Oh?
Yeah, give me Clemson. I want to pick somebody else, but I don't know if I want to go all the way out there like that.
Go with your heart.
Let's see what 12 got to say first. Who you got 12?
Unanimously, Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
All right.
#1 seed, not just in it. We're unanimous Georgia #1 seed. Okay.
Completely agree.
Okay.
#2, I'm going Michigan.
Okay.
I think it's their time. To me, this is probably the best overall team Michigan has had at quarterback too.
Yeah.
Usually they have a really good team, but they have like a okay quarterback.
Okay.
#3, I just don't have any faith in USC's defense.
That's fair.
We watched that game the other night, and it's like San Jose State for the first half was doing whatever they wanted to.
Sure. And then Caleb said,
We're coming to that in a second.
You watch tape too?
Yeah.
Okay, watch this.
Fair. So give me Washington.
Really?
It's a stretch pick.
Really? I like this.
Give me Washington.
I like it. Okay.
Right. Give me Washington.
And
#4, give me the Florida State University.
Yes, sir.
Scalp them.
Okay. So my stretch pick would have been Texas. Because
Can I recant?
You like that? You like that stretch
Let me recant.
ooh.
I'm recanting.
Who you
Give me
taking out?
Texas.
Who you taking
I'm taking
out?
out Washington.
Taking out
Give me
Washington.
Texas.
Okay.
Because I don't know if we're doing next. I'm taking Texas over Bama this year.
Really? Okay. We weren't gonna get into that,
Right.
but sure. You got Texas. If Texas beats Bama, then yeah, full send. I'm going full send with Texas to the college football playoff. If they beat Bama, they're gonna be riding so high. And
Exactly.
I think they're playing a weakened Big 12 this season. Yeah, if they beat Alabama in week 2, the Texas hype train is gonna get packed out. Like you're gonna be on a waiting list to get on the bandwagon. I'm not mad at that.
I can't see it happening. I think you and me had the convo, or you and me had the convo about Alabama, and how I feel like. I think it was you and me. Like nobody's discussing Alabama, and it's just like that sleeping giant is in the corner, and that sleeping giant is being manned by Nick Saban, and I can just see Nick Saban sitting there like, okay.
So me and Unc ran a 2-man weave last week. We did the Alabama preview show. I think we both landed at Bama going 10-2, which they could lose to a Texas, and then maybe they drop, I don't know, that LSU game or something like that, and then they finish 10-2 and they go to a bowl game. I could see that. That would be a quote unquote down year for Alabama standards, but I think they're having a down year quarterback. So dropping 2 games isn't ridiculous, right? I don't think that's an outrageous thing. I also think Jalen Milroe is going to win the job, and his accuracy is worse than Bo Nix at Auburn. So, okay.
All right.
Okay. Man,
I like that. I like that Washington.
I am frustrated I wasn't here for that Florida State show.
It's all right.
It was a whole show, so we don't need to double back on all of it. All right. Week 0. We have mentioned it a couple of times now. The USC Trojans played host to San Jose State. They got a final victory to the tune of 56-28. The Caleb Williams, your reigning Heisman champion, went 18 for 25, 278 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The aforementioned true freshman Zachariah Branch went for 4 catches, 58 yards, 1 touchdown, and a kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts that we haven't mentioned when it comes to USC? or Caleb or Lincoln.
I mean, again, it's like I think that game sums up what we've kind of been talking about when it comes to USC. First of all, a team on the level of a USC probably shouldn't give up 28 points to San Jose State, as Slim called them yesterday. It shouldn't happen. But again, anytime they didn't score, then it's like a 14-point swing every time. Because Caleb's going to come down and score. If you don't score, Caleb's going to score.
For the most part, yes. Now, Caleb did take a couple dumb sacks that he should not have taken.
In the first half?
In the first half.
Yeah.
He does that
If
sometimes.
Caleb does that against a certain team, because the football can roll any way, any day.
True indeed.
If Caleb does something like that against a certain team that gets a good stop on the right fourth down or third down, it could go either way.
Okay.
I get you. I guess my faith in Caleb is the fact that if he makes a mistake, I know that odds are the next possession, chances are he's going to score.
He makes up for it.
He makes up for it.
Yeah.
And right now, again, you gave him more. He has more weapons. He didn't have to touch the ball. Don't kick to number one. Don't kick the branch.
Well, now that's a thing.
That's a thing now. So that has nothing to do with Caleb.
And his touchdown was like a swing, like a screen that he took for a touchdown. Zach Branch.
Yeah.
Again, Dorian Singer didn't even have to really show up. Dorian Singer, like I said, went for 1,000 yards last year. Taj Washington went for 85 and a touchdown. Jerry Rice's son is on this roster. Does anybody know that?
Yeah, there was a thing about him possibly playing
Brendan Rice.
Dion's son, right?
Mario Williams is on that roster as a wide receiver. So just saying, they're so loaded.
The offensive side of the ball is loaded.
They did give up 200 rushing yards to San Jose State. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. That's not okay. But then again, the question isn't how good would their defense be. The question is who can outscore them.
Right.
And I don't know if they will face a team until maybe like a playoff situation that can get the stops necessary to really beat them. I think Utah will be good again. I think Oregon will be good. I think Washington will be good. Are you good enough to score with that offense?
And again, to me, that's the very scary thing with them, because we both agree that they're a quarterback away from getting to the playoffs last year, right? With Georgia, if Stetson goes down, then okay, fine, the defense ain't gonna let you score, so we're gonna win 7-3.
Right.
Can't say that about USC. They lose that quarterback. You have all these weapons. Who's getting them the ball?
It's a different conversation. Now, I do believe in Malachi Nelson, the freshman. I also believe in Miller Moss, who came in and looked very well himself. He also has a running ability that I didn't realize Miller Moss had. But, yeah, the conversation does become different. They go from probably being favored to go undefeated to probably 10-2 or something like that. The line probably drops to 9.5 or something like that. Okay, the other major game that happened, well, the game that was featuring a major team that happened took place in Ireland. It was the Notre Dame Irish playing against the Navy. They won 42-3. It was the debut of one Mr. Sam Hartman in the Notre Dame systems. Everybody's saying that Notre Dame has now upgraded the quarterback position. Notre Dame is coming off a successful season, and now they think they're taking a step forward at the quarterback spot. Thoughts on Sam Hartman yesterday? Thoughts on him in general? Thoughts on Notre Dame?
This may sound like a hater. I've never been a huge Sam Hartman guy.
Okay. It's a little hated in there.
It's laced.
Yeah.
He did put up numbers, but this is a Navy defense with a new head coach that's probably been running the same offense and defense for I don't know how long.
Since the Navy was a thing?
Since the Navy was a thing. So this is more so like a scrimmage, in my opinion.
Okay.
Navy's offense can't sustain drives, so that means there's a lot of time for Notre Dame's offense to be on the field, which leaves Navy's defense tired.
Yeah.
And then Sam Hartman looks like a baller. So they did what they should have done, but this is not like I wouldn't go put Sam Hartman in the Heisman race.
Okay.
I mean, nobody was excited about this game except Notre Dame fans.
Yeah.
Nobody was excited about this game.
Yeah.
The whole thing was about Notre Dame being in Ireland. That was it. That's all I kept hearing.
But I think that was a little
we went to the bars,
overblown.
and of course, your boy was doing the announcing.
Who that?
Wasn't
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
None of my boy. I mean, never been mine.
He was happy to be over there
None
in
of my
Ireland.
boys. He
with
was
his
your
family.
boy.
No, he was never mine.
All right.
I'm
I
just
am on
saying.
record for hating
All right.
Jason Garrett.
He looks Irish too.
Yeah.
He's a redhead, and he's
he looks
trash.
Wow.
Wow.
Garbanzo.
Yeah, you didn't learn anything. Sam Hartman, he's good. He's a good quarterback. I don't know what that's going to mean for Notre Dame when it matters.
To that point, we will find out who Notre Dame is. They actually play some teams that are expected to be decent. They play NC State, which we all are familiar with. NC State is a battle at times. They play Ohio State. They got to go to Duke. They go to Louisville. They got to play Pitt. Pat Narduzzi always has his team ready. And then they also have to play at Clemson, their third to last game of the season. So we will find out who Notre Dame is. We will find out who Sam Hartman actually is. Matter of time.
Yeah, I'm looking at that schedule. There's a lot of L's on this schedule.
Ooh, straight L's.
Big L's.
Y'all calling it just straight L's.
Big L's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Capital.
All right. Listen, we're going to find out. We will find out who Notre Dame is. It won't take us entirely too long. Okay. Let's go ahead and make our jump into the week 1 preview, and we're going to do it with Pick 'em. Pick 'em game numero uno, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't pick some random obscure game that most people aren't thinking about.
Of course.
Nebraska at Minnesota.
Are you keeping tally again?
Yeah, apparently.
Nice.
Apparently I'm stuck keeping tally.
You should.
Nebraska at Minnesota. Minnesota is getting 7.5 points. I am a fan of Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule will get this thing together. Will he have it together week 1 and put a stop to the rowing of the boat?
Keep rowing. Give me Minnesota.
They rolling? They rolling?
Give me Minnesota.
Yeah, give it. Is that how they say it? Give them.
I live in Minnesota.
That's from something. That's a reference. Man, what is that from? Gotta think about it.
The state of Minnesota.
Yes. Still gotta go back to Minnesota. Shout out to Carl Anthony Towns, who's balling for the Dominican Republic, by the way, in the FIBA World Championship.
Of course he is.
He's balling.
Give me Minnesota too, unless the Huskers bring out their those overall uniforms.
Those things are hideous.
Bring them things out. That's the only way I'll pick Nebraska.
Give me Nebraska.
Gross.
I think Matt Rule is going to win more games this season than people think.
I think Matt Rule is the guy to turn around, because what he did at Baylor was A1. I do think he is a guy that can turn that team around.
They've been saying this about Nebraska for a while. About bringing in that guy's going to turn this team around.
Say the same thing about Texas. You on that Texas train now.
Fair.
But with what Frost did last year with that team, no way he comes out the gate.
It's a
beating
revamped
Minnesota.
roster. I think Jeff Sims is better than we think he is. Y'all didn't play Georgia Tech every year. Jeff Sims gives me like Hendon Hooker vibes. Now, I don't think he will put up Hendon Hooker numbers. Hendon Hooker, because you remember his first year at Tennessee, they went 7-5. Hendon Hooker last year had a Heisman caliber season. I think Jeff Sims is not too different. I think he's actually a little bit more athletic than Hendon Hooker. So a quarterback with mobility makes up for a lot of sins in college football. I'm just saying, I think they can go in there and they can surprise Minnesota. I'm also not very high on Minnesota this year. I think that coach should have got out of there when he had a chance. When he was 2-3 years ago, when Minnesota was...
They had a big high.
They were ranked
Yeah.
and all of that, and he was getting those offers, and he stayed put. He signed that extension. I think my boy should have took that check.
They put up back-to-back 9-win seasons, though.
In the last 2 years?
Yeah, 9-4. Then they had that's COVID year, and then they won 11 games in 2019.
I think Nebraska can shock them, man. Shock the world.
Give me Minnesota.
Obscure game number 2. UTSA is getting 1 point at Houston. Dana Holgerson
Cougars?
and the Cougs just lost their starting quarterback, Clayton Tune, lost Tank Dell. Those are your 2 best offensive weapons. The defense already wasn't that good. You lost your offensive coordinator. UTSA at Houston, getting a point on the road.
I feel like I gotta show love to Houston because I'm trying to get there in 2024. If you feel me,
Give me Houston. H-Town.
H-Town.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Houston too at home. But man,
It's-
UTSA getting a point on the road.
It's a
though?
close one. Give me Houston, though.
Houston's they're a Power 5 team now. It's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to mean something. All right, game number 3.
I also love me some Cougars.
The Florida Shamesville Gators at number 14, Utah Utes. Utah is getting 6.5. That line has moved. There are questions about one Cam Rising, the starting quarterback for the Utah Utes. The backup quarterback is also reportedly hurt. Utah still getting 6.5 though. Y'all taking Murder Mertz and the Gates? Or you rolling with them Utes?
Absolutely not.
Of course not.
I don't trust any transfer Wisconsin quarterback.
Oh man, but
'Cause
did
what was
y'all
his
just
name?
give love to Wisconsin and Luke Fickle?
Oh, no, I said transfer quarterbacks.
Right, but you just gave
What was his name?
Wisconsin love.
After Hornibrook?
Hornibrook.
Get him out of here.
That boy horny.
Get him out of here.
Big horny.
No,
That boy was
absolutely not.
garbage.
That boy was garbage.
Big horny.
Give me Utah.
With points, just for fun. I'm not keeping track of that. You taking Utah with the points?
I think they're a couple.
What's the points?
6.5.
Yeah, give me that.
Utah with points. Even if Cam Rising don't play.
Give me that.
Yeah, give me Utah even if Cam Rising doesn't play. I just think Utah is a program that develops well, which means their depth is usually better than most people probably think it is. It's going to be a team of older guys. They're the type of guys that they're 3-4 year guys. Guys don't really leave early. The tight end left, but Kuth, who's the backup tight end, is supposed to be really good. He's a little banged up from what I read.
So he's a little uncouth.
Touche. That's not bad, man. Yeah, I still think Utah just plays good football. I think Kyle Whittingham right now, I think you can make an argument that he's a top 5 coach in college football right now with what Whittingham has done out there in Utah. Considering what he gets, what he has at his disposal, his resources versus what everybody else does and what he puts on the field, I think Kyle Whittingham has an argument for being a top 5 coach in college football. So I am up on Utah. I think Cam Rising's going to play. Maybe it's me. I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist a little bit. I think they're kind of leaning into it. Apparently, like Whittingham was like, I'll wait till an hour before the game if I can. It's like, okay, bro. I think he's kind of leaning into the whole thing. Then like a couple of weeks ago, they dropped like a random like practice clip of Cam Rising throwing a touchdown. I'm like, what are we doing?
Strategic.
It's mind games.
Strategy.
They're playing mind games.
Yeah.
And I'm also just not big on this season's Billy Napier's boys. I'm just not big on them either.
He has a quarterback that transferred from Wisconsin.
Beyond that, the wide receiver room is very
Yeah.
Offensive line is replacing 4 starters.
What you call it, brother still though, ain't he?
ETN is still there.
I can't stand him.
Trevor, the
Boy's
running
nice.
backs are still there.
He's nice now.
Both running backs are still there, but you're replacing 4 starters on that old line. Utah has a sizable front 4. They always do. Half of them are Samoan. Half of them are American Samoan. They're just big for fun.
Yeah.
Them cats are just big and strong just because today is Wednesday.
Any revenge vibes in this game?
And of course, it's an opportunity to get their get back.
They definitely let them boys off the hook last year.
Big time. That was Utah's game to win.
It's in Utah and the elevation.
Thin air.
That air gets thin up there.
Is it anything like the Heat in Miami?
I think it's actually a bigger factor than the Heat in Miami.
Okay.
That elevation is a real thing, right? You hear like NBA teams talk about when they play at Denver, it's a real thing. You hear,
Yeah.
I remember when the Lightning were playing the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Finals a couple seasons ago, and they were trying to schedule out the travel so they could be there as little as possible. Because apparently it takes like 10 days for you to actually acclimate to it. So like teams want to get in and get out real quick. That's just another thing on top of what's going to be a packed out crowd. Give me Utah.
And they have a quarterback that transferred from the University of Wisconsin.
So I heard. I did hear that.
Garbage.
Game numero 4. Number 21, North Carolina versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. North Carolina is getting 2.5 points, if it means anything to you. Who y'all taking? Battle of the Carolinas. I don't know if that's what that's called, but that's what I'm going to call it.
That's cool with me.
That's fine with me. I'll go on record and taking USC
Ooh, big scar.
Big scar.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about being a South Carolina fan and having to yell out,
Go Cox.
that's crazy.
A lot
Crazy.
of pauses.
Big pause.
I mean, and they all look forward to Cocktober.
That's crazy.
It's insane for real.
Come on, man.
It's insane for real.
That's crazy.
Hey, man.
I can't.
They really
I can't
be
walk
in
around-
South Carolina
with
wearing
just
shirts
Cox.
that say
Yeah.
Go Cox.
Go Cox.
Yeah.
Big Cox.
Big Cox.
Big Cox.
Yeah. Heavy on the cock.
They like Cox on the
Crazy.
hat and everything.
Pause.
No, like it's a thing.
Big Cox.
It's a big thing. It's a thing.
Pause.
So many pauses.
Man.
Where's the gavel?
Yeah, we need to bring in Mason.
That's crazy.
Who you picking, man? North Carolina or South Carolina?
Is Drake May still a
Yes,
Carolina
he is.
Tar Heel?
Yes, he is.
I mean, did he transfer? Or
No, he
something?
did not.
Give me North Carolina.
But didn't he lose his starting running back?
So
and then
this-
the transfer didn't get approved,
So they
right?
lost Josh Downs from last year, who was his top receiver. The running game, I think they might have lost a running back. The running game actually wasn't that great last year. And then the transfer from Kent State, Tez Walker, was getting a lot of hype, a lot of praise, and his transfer waiver got denied, which is especially stinky because of the school he went to before. He never actually played a game for him, which I think is kind of trash.
Big trash.
Yeah, NCAA is blowing the bag on that, but that's what they do. They go out of their way to be sucky. Give me South Carolina. I'm kind of buying the South Carolina hype. I think South Carolina is going to be
Little beamer ball.
yeah, I'm cool with Beamer Ball. I like Shane. I think Spencer Rattler is going to be decent. I think we get end of last year Spencer Rattler. People forget South Carolina beat Tennessee last year, late in the season, and they went on a run last year. They bring in who I think was the biggest athletic freak in all of high school sports last year, Nicholas Harbor, 6'5". I think he's like 220, 230. He was a track, like he was choosing between playing football and going and being like an Olympic sprinter. I don't know if you ever heard this kid's name is Nicholas Harbor. He's from out of like the DMV area. 6'5", like 220, 230.
They can run the DMV.
He runs like a 10-second 100-meter. Like it's nuts. Yeah, like he's like, but he's like big. He's built. He's a solid. I think South Carolina is going to be better than people think. I think
What
they'll be
position
the
does he
third
play?
best team in the SEC East. I think they got to play wide receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they got him playing wide receiver. He's not a natural pass catcher if you like go watch his highlights, but when he does catch it, he's kind of a problem. He's kind of a problem.
Tar Heels.
Give me.
This is how we do it in North Carolina.
Oh gosh, turn. Also, and their defense is putrid. So North Carolina's defense is just disgustingly bad, and I don't know if they get better.
Tar Heels also lost their OC.
They lost their OC Phil Longo. They lose the OC, their best receiver, I think a running back. They lost like 3 of their starting DBs from last year, like Storm Duck, Tony Grimes, like all of those kids left on a already bad defense. And I mean like in the hundreds ranked of like FBS.
What's the spread on it?
North Carolina's still getting 2.5. The game is in Charlotte, so it's a neutral site.
Okay. Carolina.
Okay. Final game. Number 5, LSU Tigers. Playing the number 8 Florida State Seminoles. LSU is getting 2.5. They will be playing at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. I believe you boys will be in attendance.
We shall be there.
In attendance.
Double,
Sober.
It's a double up from last year. I'm assuming you guys are picking.
True indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Knowles, man. I mentioned to you before. I'm looking at this team. We bring back open mouth say things. We bring back the exact same team.
Yeah.
A year better with more weapons. We've added weapons to a team that beat the same team last year. Again, get the Brian Kelly love. LSU, SEC, they got talent. LSU wakes up and they just have talent just knocking on the door. Cool. I'm glad that the point spread isn't higher than what it is. I can deal with being 2-point dogs, 2.5-point dogs. I'm okay with that. And I feel like that's only based off of SEC bias. I honestly believe that's the only reason why we're 2-point dogs. That's
See
it.
that?
Yeah. Teams are evenly matched to me. I think I told you, I feel like we are pound for pound a better team than LSU.
Okay. 12?
I'm going to say I'm taking Florida State, of course.
Naturally.
I do want to say that I agree with Pump that we are a evenly match up with LSU, especially this year. And last year they gave LSU a lot of hype because didn't they beat Bama?
Later in the season, yeah.
They also lost to Texas A&M though.
They did.
They did.
So, and they lost their starting D tackle due to a weird suspension.
Makes no sense.
Even so, last year we weren't supposed to even have a lead in that game. If you watched a lot of stuff going up to it, now we're a seasoned team. We've added to every weakness that we had last year through the transfer portal, especially the trenches. We actually have depth at D tackle now. So,
is Fabian Lovett playing healthy?
Yeah.
Somebody said he might not be playing.
He's been sitting out in camp.
Okay.
It's been
Specifically so he can play.
Okay.
It's been interesting with Fabo.
Yeah.
I saw that recently. I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, Fable's been sitting out in camp specifically because Fable was like 8 years in college football.
He's been there for a while.
He's been there for a while.
He's working on his doctorate. I believe.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, Fabo. But I like us at every position.
Okay. I'm gonna take LSU. I think Vegas has them -2.5 for a reason. I do think the teams are evenly matched, very much evenly matched. I think I give you all the edge on offense. I give LSU the edge on defense. I think they have the best linebacker in the country in Harold Perkins. His numbers are outrageous. I was looking at numbers. He actually had more tackles for loss than Jared Verse, which is bonkers as a linebacker versus a future top 10 draft pick at defensive end. That's not normal. And so having a piece like that to do things with when you have to face a Jordan Travis, I think is a really big chess piece. So I give you guys the edge on offense. I'm going to give them the edge on defense. I also think their front seven is better. I think we may have briefly talked about it. I don't think your linebackers are special, but I think Harold Perkins is arguably the best linebacker in the country. And even without Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo was all SEC last year and All-American. So they could have had 2 All-American D tackles. They will only have 1 All-American D tackle, which is still worth saying something.
Which we played them last year with.
You did.
Said
Wingo played last year.
D-tackle.
Looking back at last year's game, I think people forget they started 2 true freshman tackles, and for the most part did okay, which is kind of surprising. Their first game ever, and they did pretty okay. Jared Verse made plays, but he didn't wreck the game against a true freshman in front of him who now has an extra season under his belt. It was Brian Kelly's first game ever with that team versus a coach who had been there who was in his 3rd season. I think there's something to that. Brian Kelly has not lost. He has not won less than double-digit games in the last decade. His teams play well. And even in his first game ever with this team, they go up against a Florida State team that would go on to win double-digit games. I think that's worth something. And if that game gets played later in the season, I'd like to see how it plays out. Do they still make the same mistakes? Florida State probably won't make the same mistakes. You probably don't fumble on the goal line. But are you even in position to seal a game? Is Malik Neighbors muffing a punt for no good reason?
Or are they losing to Texas A&M?
I don't think now LSU is they're not a run the table type of team. I don't think they're a run the table type of team. I think they do have holes on their roster for sure. So I can see them losing to a Texas A&M, and I know we make fun of Texas A&M. We talk bad about Jimbo, but Texas A&M on paper has a top 5 roster, talent-wise.
Still got talent.
It's just about can you get them, and sometimes they show up. That Texas A&M team also beat Alabama, almost beat Alabama last year. They beat Alabama 2 years ago. So Texas A&M does do that. They'll get up for that random big game and beat somebody that they're not supposed to beat. So yeah, I think it matters, but it's not like they lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to a team that's just also really, really talented, and every now and then the lights come on, they actually play good. But I do think the teams are very evenly matched. I think 2.5 makes a lot of sense. I thought Florida State might be the favorite because it's in Florida. So I was kind of surprised to see that. But all that being said, I'm going to take LSU, but I think 2.5 is right where it should be. I think this is absolutely a 1-possession difference type of game. one way or the other, right? 2.5 means a missed or made field goal. Mm-hmm. It's 2.5. So
I'm cool.
All right, those are the pick'ems for week 1. We are an hour and 10 minutes in. We're going to take a very, very quick break, and we got a couple of nibblies.
Cool.
Sweet.